All right, folks, I'm in Capistrano Beach, California. I'm gonna take you for a walk and talk on the beach. And I guess I'll go ahead and talk about the election 2016 on this edition of Hippie versus Jock. All right, folks, we'll go ahead and take you for a walk on Capistrano Beach, California, and I'll go ahead and discuss this election 2016. And before I even get into it, you see the title, you can tell I probably have some opinions of my own. If you don't like what I say, it's not my problem. You can turn off the video right now, because I don't know, a lot of people probably won't like what I have to say. So there's your chance to turn off the video. So let's go. 42 years old. First election when I turned 18 was in 1992, where I was available to vote. For the most part, I thought I was a Democrat. But for the most part, you end up finding out some things about yourself if you actually pay attention to these elections really well. 1992, the front runners were at the time Bill Clinton, who was it? George W. Bush, and believe it or not, an independent, which you don't get to see nowadays, Ross Perot. I figured I would do my due diligence, listen to all the debates, listen to what all the folks had to say, and for the most part, by the time everything got finished, I didn't think I was a Democrat anymore. I didn't think I was a Republican. I thought I was just a person who basically didn't agree with a lot of what was happening during the debates, because Ross Perot was actually tearing them a new ass. And those of you who might be old enough to remember, or those of you interested, you might be able to take a look at, actually I know you can look up on YouTube some of the debates as far as what Ross Perot was saying. Him and his little Texan voice. It's like, this is Ross Perot, and I'll let you know that NAFTA is like the great big sucking sound that will be sucking jobs right out of America. It's like, you can count on it. And sure enough, it was like some of the stuff that he spoke about was right on point. And actually, I followed him for a very long time through a website he had, and I believe it was called Perot Charts. And he shut down his website a number of years ago, probably kind of like I did mine. And I'm not sure why he shut his down, but for me, I was getting a lot of visitors, and honestly, weird things start happening in your life depending on what you start to talk about and honestly what you kind of expose. But by now, everybody should kind of be figuring out that something's way wrong. And what we see wrong is, if you're paying attention, you got Hillary Clinton, who's basically got this email scandal going on where she has classified material in a private server, and somehow all this stuff keeps trying to get washed under the rug. And basically you have Trump, who's literally just saying whatever the hell he feels like saying. And I think everybody is at a point where they're kind of sick of what's going on. Basically, you know, we pretty much just have, I don't know, it's almost like just specific families that are able to run for president and magically get elected, we'll call it. So one thing I do invite you to do, if you're into what this joke of what they call an election is, pay attention to what you see right now before the two major candidates are approached. And the first thing is what they're calling delegates and superdelegates. Delegates. If your vote really counts the way they say it is, I'm trying to figure out why those two terms even exist. Because it's your vote that should be putting the people in power, not delegates or superdelegates. And then when we get to the actual primaries, where it's just the Republican against the Democrat, which seems to be weird. You never get to hear the other candidates. You know, there are other candidates running, believe it or not, other than Republicans and Democrats. But anyway, once they start the major election, and I believe it's November, or maybe October, I don't know, I forget. You pay attention to electoral colleges and electorates. And I'll sum this all up by saying this one thing. Most of you have jobs that will be watching this, and at your job you have presidents. And the question to you is, as an employee, do you ever get to elect your president? No, they have what they know as a board, a chair with chair people. Those chair people actually are responsible for putting people in power. So you think about delegates, superdelegates, and the folks that are the electors. You gotta wonder. And I'll just leave it at that. If you're curious, you might look up some of the terms. I might see about putting some of the links down in the description if I can find them fairly easily, which I should be able to, and that's it. I actually get to test out my video stabilization today, and thanks for watching.
Right. Yeah. What?
You're right.
Okay. Dave, the next segment's going to be that long?
Okay.
Well, I think the question was...
It'll only take a minute to kill this snake. Go ahead.
Go ahead, kill it.
You're talking about the question, not me, right?
No. Do you guys ever do anything but propaganda?
Isn't it your business also?
Would you even know the truth if you saw it?
Oh yes.
I don't believe you would.
A lot of us remember the debate between Al Gore, who was then vice president, and Ross Perot. Ross Perot was fiercely against NAFTA. Knowing what we know now, was Ross Perot right?
All I can remember from that is a bunch of charts. I'm
the single biggest threat to Western civilization.
So, President Bush, I think you said it earlier.
A new world order. Let's go.
And I think the first question is over here.
Yes, I'd like to direct my question to Mr. Perot. What will you do as president to open foreign markets to fair competition from American business and to stop unfair competition here at home from foreign countries so that we can bring jobs back to the United States?
That's right at the top of my agenda. We've shipped millions of jobs overseas, and we have a strange situation because we have a process in Washington where after you've served for a while, you cash in, become a foreign lobbyist, make $30,000 a month, then take a leave, work on presidential campaigns, make sure you got good contacts, and then go back out. To those of you in the audience who are business people, pretty simple. If you're paying $12, $13, $14 an hour for factory workers, And you can move your factory south of the border, pay $1 an hour for labor, hire a young 25, that's assuming you've been in business for a long time, you've got a mature workforce. Pay $1 an hour for your labor, have no health care, that's the most expensive single element making a car, have no environmental controls, no pollution controls, and no retirement, and you don't care about anything but making money, there will be a giant sucking sound going south. So if the people send me to Washington, the first thing I'll do is study that 2,000-page agreement and make sure it's a two-way street. One last point here. I decided I was dumb and didn't understand it, so I called a who's who of the folks who've been around it. And I said, why won't everybody go south? They said, we'll be disruptive. I said, for how long? I finally got them up for 12 to 15 years. And I said, well, how does it stop being disruptive? And that is when their jobs come up from $1 an hour to $6 an hour and ours go down to $6 an hour, then it's leveled again. But in the meantime, you've wrecked the country with these kinds of deals. We've got to cut it out.